Hey everyone, welcome back to the Adaptathon. This is Samurai Snake,
This is Tanner of the North.
and this is the Simpsons arcade. At this point in 1992, it was the only decent Simpsons game out there.
And it's actually an interesting relic because it is based on very early Simpsons, where there's a few things that are a bit different, which we'll be definitely talking about.
And we are, or rather, I am playing this for Child's Play, a charity that brings toys and games to children who are stuck in the hospital.
Right now, we are currently at $1,819.69. Nice. So if you want to donate, what you can do is you can hit the big old donate button down at the bottom of the screen, or well, bottom below the screen. Or I wonder if I can do the donate myself. Yes, I can. There we go. So you're gonna see a few things that are a bit interesting here that we're gonna go. That looks a bit off. Like Blue Shirt Bart, who is a bit of a cryptid, as well as those Life in Hell characters, which are the bunnies you'll see.
So, this is the two-player variant of The Simpsons. It had two releases, one with 4 players, where every stick and button was assigned to one specific character. The two-player variant allows you to choose between what characters you like to play as.
Interesting, because yeah, I was looking at the character select screen, and I was like, I don't actually remember that, because when I played this game, I was very lucky in which my family went to and I think I told this story earlier, my family went to a big, open house for a timeshare, and in the hotel's lobby there, they had a free-play 4-player Simpsons arcade game, and it was just a situation where I was left there for about 3 or 4 hours, as you do to a 10-year-old child at a hotel. And I got to play through this game multiple times with multiple people. It was a lot of fun, but it was the 4-player one, so anyone could just get onto one stick and controller and they'd get that one.
Yeah, for me, I had this at a local 7-Eleven when I was a kid, and I
Sounds
played
like the life.
a lot of this game as a kid. Wanted to play it on consoles, but never got the chance, because nothing could run this game properly, not even MS-DOS.
Yeah, the latest release of this was actually, I think it was on the PS3 and Xbox 360. It did get a release there, but I think it might have been one of those wonderful time-limited ones that, after a while, they took down because of licensing. So you can still get it on your PS3 if you do some illicit means.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Actually, let me check to see if it's still up. It might be.
I don't think it's up on the stores anymore. Does this suffer the same fate as TMNT 1989 and also the X-Men?
Yeah, it's gone there. It's on delistedgames.com, so you know it's gone.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, so immediately from the get-go, we raised the point of why was Smithers robbing a bank when Mr. Burns is already rich? Well, that's another one of those just weird things where they didn't fully get the characterization of some of the characters. Again, we have Blue Shirt Bart here, who only appeared in early marketing. You can get stuff with Bart in his blue shirt as plushes and stuff. I watched a whole video on the mystery of Blue Shirt Bart, and it's basically he was gonna wear a blue shirt, and then I think what happened was there were so many bootlegs of him in the blue shirt that then for the show they switched him to his other shirt now, his orange one.
Ready?
Okay, so there are 3 computer players after all. After this stage, you get a little mini-game where you have to blow up your balloon. Winner gets points. Damn
I
it.
cannot believe Mario Party took it from this.
Only difference is yours doesn't blow up.
Yeah, because they're the baddies.
But
So
what?
yeah, you might be wondering about these bunny characters here. Those are the characters from the previous series of Matt Groening called Life in Hell, which was a kind of a dark, like really dark sort of comedy thing about rabbits in hell. And interestingly, if you play as Marge and you get hit with a certain electric attack, or you use her vacuum cleaner attack with a certain attack there, her hair will pull off, and underneath her hair in this game are the bunny rabbit ears.
Huh.
So as such, one of the, like, if the Simpsons wasn't going to last super long, there was actually going to be a plot twist of this is actually taking place in the world of Life is Hell, but Simpsons got too popular and they kind of nixed that idea, and now you'll see cameos of the characters, but you won't anymore. It was one of those things where they thought of it as a great way to end the series, and then it got too popular, and now it's never going to end.
But whatever story this game has is basically Mr. Smithers stole some jewelry, Maggie took the diamond as a pacifier, and now he kidnapped Maggie. They've worked with whatever they had to make an interesting game.
Yeah, it's important to remember that not only was this made by Konami, a Japanese company, meaning that, you know, at this time, not the easiest to do cross-country communication, but at the same time, they had to go off of very early Simpsons information. So as such, they didn't have much to go off of, just other than the basic early scripts, hence why we have, you know, Blue Shirt Bart here.
And speaking of characters from Hell...
Yeah, or
Life
the one ear here.
Yeah, I remember another reason why Blue Shirt Bart was made was because with a red shirt, he and Lisa, rather, were hard to make distinctions of with parents. So I think that's also another reason why they gave him the blue shirt.
Makes sense, makes sense.
And also a green shirt if you're playing any one of the Krusty's Funhouse games on Super Nintendo.
Oh, I definitely had the Bart's Nightmare for the Super Nintendo there as a kid.
Oh no!
That game...
Snowball.
That game is not good.
Yeah. As is with many Simpsons games.
I think this and the Simpsons movie game are generally regarded as the best ones.
Bart is generally the best character in the game, with Homer being the worst. Because
Marge is pretty good too. Marge has range too, because she uses her vacuum there, so she's another one that's regarded as being pretty good. But Bart is just, yeah, he's small to go with his speed and stuff.
Yeah, true. You don't really need a reason to beat up Mr. Burns. He did get shot after all.
So being an arcade game, we will say this game isn't super long. However, it is difficult because it's meant to eat your quarters. It's an arcade beat 'em up. That's what they're for. So on that note, you know, we'll get through it pretty quickly. But thankfully, being an emulator, we have a insert coin button, which I wish I had an insert coin button for my bank.
You could probably put an insert coin button if you had a MAME arcade cabinet yourself. Which
Sure,
I don't. The computer's good enough for me.
I have a real big, like, fight stick with, like, 9,000 arcade games built in.
Nice.
And I've definitely considered turning it into, like, getting a arcade cabinet and, like, putting it in there. Because it's all, like, it's basically a whole arcade and has, like, everything in it. The only thing it's missing is you just plug it into a TV screen. And I've definitely considered doing that, but kind of hard to do now with me moving halfway across the world.
Oh, yeah. You're probably gonna just have to ship it over to yourself, if that's even at all possible, or just keep it stationary.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna leave it at home and play it in the summer when I come back.
Konami did a lot of adaptations. They and Capcom were usually the go-tos for decent licensed video games.
Yeah, and it's always interesting when you... Oh, look at him do the Thriller. It's always interesting when you look at some of them that, you know, were very popular adaptations, but kind of went their own way. Like, the big one that everyone thinks about is the Alien vs. Predator beat-em-up by Capcom, which has its own characters and stuff, and those characters later got retconned into being, like, Street Fighter characters, even.
Huh.
Yeah, Lin Kurosawa, who was the OC chick who looks like Ibuki from Street Fighter, ended up being just put into the Street Fighter games as cameos there. So that's pretty cool there.
I didn't
What
know
is
that.
Cowboys of New Mesa?
That's a strange licensed beat-em-up, I think.
I've never heard of this, but I feel like when I look at it, I'm gonna get like arcane knowledge that will come back to me.
It's...
Nope.
something...
Never seen the... Wait. No, I know this. Oh my god, I just got a flashback from hell.
It's another one of those weird TMNT wannabes, I'm guessing.
Yeah, kind of like
Street Sharks.
Biker Mice from Mars, which also has its own set of games.
How's my hair?
Your hair's fine, March. Your hair's fine.
So yeah, there is a move, and I don't know how you do it, but you have the vacuum cleaner suck up her hair, and when you do that, that's what shows her rabbit ears under there. The other thing is when Marge gets electrocuted. Yep, there it is.
There it
you
is.
just saw it. It's there for a brief second, but if you do it, and you can actually see it there.
I thought it was something like doing quarter circle forward motion or something. Controls in this game are weird because there's no special moves other than a dive kick.
Mm-hmm.
Homie, I'm secretly a rabbit, homie.
The sound effects in this game are classic.
Mm-hmm.
Very Japanese though, but I like it. I like them. I think these are supposed to be the Blues Brothers or something.
I could see that. I do like how the one guy is in the same suit, but he's just a manlet, so it doesn't be too big.
Sunset Riders, but with different assets. Huh.
Interesting.
If two players play this, they can do team-up attacks, specifically with Homer and Marge and Lisa and Bart, which have unique attacks.
I remember that, and it's interesting, the way you get it, because I remember doing that in the arcade there with different people, is you literally just stand still next to each other for a certain amount of time, and then they'll, like, fuse into a single character for a little bit.
Yeah, both players have control over them, so have fun trying to wrestle control away from the other person.
I think what I ended up doing is, because it was a free-play arcade game, is I would just spawn in the other character and then just wait there and team up with them, but only I was playing.
I'm Muttley, and we go to Mo's Tavern, which is not at all accurate to the show, because it's underground.
And, you know, has dancing ladies back there, which I don't think Mo can actually afford.
Homer.
Since this is Mo's Tavern, why not go to Homer?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this actually reminds me, I think there was, they released a game they called The Simpsons Arcade on, like, iPhone and other mobile devices there, but it wasn't actually Simpsons Arcade. It was an arcade-like game, but using kind of bad HD stuff, and it just, and it didn't play good, and it wasn't a good sort of version of it. And people were like, literally, why are you calling a game The Simpsons Arcade when it's not that?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, that led into the Simpsons mobile, like, the one where it's like you're building Springfield and stuff, which timers and
So it's just SimCity, except not fun.
It's like SimCity, except if you want to build something, it says, all right, you have to wait 48 real-world hours, but if you spend some money, it can be built faster. So why don't you just spend some money on Homer Simpson? Yeah, it was EA who was behind it, and it was kind of one of the go-to, like, yep, this is EA sort of things.
Hey, no ducking allowed. Well, there's Bleeding Gums Murphy with the dancers, and I don't know who that baby is, unless that... I don't know. Hey, come here.
Don't shoot the baby!
I was trying to pick up the baby to see if I could throw it like Snowball 2, or Santa's Little
Not
Helper.
good! We're here for the kids! I really should be careful about what I say, though, because I think I'm still under contract by EA. I think they still own my soul. Because as far as I'm aware, when I signed the NDAs at BioWare, I didn't see an end date to those NDAs, so I might be owned by them forever.
Hey, you actually worked with EA before.
Yeah, I'm the Mr. EA.
Hey, so we got Aliens and The Simpsons arcade games in here. That's completely obliterating the fourth wall.
Did Konami make an Aliens game?
I don't know.
Yeah, they made a 1990 arcade game for Aliens.
Huh.
So yeah, and it looks the exact same as that cabinet. Actually, that's kind of funny.
What kind of game was it? Was it a beat 'em up too?
Yeah, it was a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but you did a lot of shooting segments with it there, where you had guns instead. So interesting.
Similar to another arcade game made by Sega at the time. I think it was called Alien Syndrome. I think, or no,
Yeah,
Alien
very-
Storm. That's it.
Yeah, very similar there. Yeah, for sure.
So I have no idea what this guy's name is. All the bosses are weird. But we're gonna beat him up.
They all kind of look like that one fake Simpsons character that everyone was like gaslighting people into believing. Did you see that whole thing of the fake Simpsons character?
I don't think so.
So people were photoshopping this fake Simpsons character, whose name was, oh no, that's not it. That's talking about the Capitol riot. So Gumbly. So they were photoshopping. They're like, remember Gumbly from early Simpsons? And like they photoshopped in this weird looking character. I'm gonna put Gumbly in the comments here so people can see. And they're like, yeah, remember Gumbly? And like they were photoshopping thousands of pictures of old episodes where they'd insert Gumbly in the background. And they're like, and they were trying to gaslight people into it. It's hilarious. So I'm gonna put in the chat for people to see if they don't know what I'm talking about there. But you know. Yeah, and so then Gumbly became then Scringulus Fingor from the Mario.
Wow.
Yeah, very similar. Gumbly came first, though.
Wow.
I'm saying words that mean nothing to anyone.
Springfield Butte. Not butt. Game could go down a tiny bit. Right, give me a second.
It's okay, you could be beat up. We have infinite continues here.
Right. That seems about good.
Every now and then I think about Scringulus Fingor and think to myself, what a world we would live in if he were real.
So I think one of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons is the one with Angry Dad.
So I'm gonna be real, I watched a lot of Simpsons as a kid. Now mind you, I wasn't supposed to. I was actually banned from it from my parents because they thought it promoted child abuse, which honestly it kind of does with the strangling of Bart. Probably not the best punchline.
Yeah.
However, like, I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I totally did, because of course I did. Of course, it's what kids do. I was also banned from SpongeBob. That didn't stop me. But even though I watched a lot of early Simpsons, I can't actually remember many of those old episodes.
Huh.
Like, like, if I were to sit down, and I've done this occasionally, where, like, if I were to sit down and watch an episode that I've seen before, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen this episode, right? Like, I've seen it, right?
Please.
But I can't off the top of my head think about some episodes other than the one where Marge gets the breast enhancement. That's just because, of course, when you're a child, that thing sticks with you.
Yeah. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons simply because of this game. My mother saw it and said, no, you can't play The Simpsons. You can't play or watch The Simpsons. They punch and kick each other.
Yeah, no, I was banned from SpongeBob because my mom just thought he was super annoying.
I mean, I was also banned from forbidden from playing the Spider-Man game, Spider-Man versus the Kingpin, simply because, oh, he punches the police. Well, there's a good reason for it story-wise. As if kids can't understand stories in video games.
Spider-Man based? No. Yeah, the whole talk of, like, you know, kids being banned from certain media, like, that was such a thing of the era. Hello, Mr. Eyefish. It was such a thing, like, of the era, and yet, like, nowadays, now that I'm a teacher, I can fully say that it doesn't happen anymore. They don't care. Like, I had a kid in grade 4 tell me he was watching Game of Thrones, and I'm like, what? I was like, he's like, yeah, I watch it with my family. I'm like, you shouldn't. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. I know about sex. And I'm like, you're 8! I'm like, yeah, so it just, that was like, back in the day, it was like, oh, you know, Power Rangers, that was seen as, like, you know, too violent for kids, right? And now it's like, yeah, whatever, throw on Game of Thrones. It's like, no, stop.
Well, there was a year where I ran into some kids who knew about Rick and Morty and Sausage Party. I don't know if they watched it, but...
All the kids love Rick and Morty because it's inappropriate. Like, do you know how many of them have Rick and Morty backpacks? Like, all of them. All the boys do. Because it's just seen as like, oh, it's great. It's so inappropriate. And actually, like, I talked to a parent about this once, and their excuse is, well, I secretly watched whatever movie as a kid, and I turned out fine, so I just let my kid watch anything. And it's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say, honestly, you shouldn't be watching Family Guy anyway in the first place, because it sucks. In my opinion. But if you like it, good for you. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to play Mortal Kombat either, after my mom saw Sub-Zero's fatality.
Yeah, for me it was like my parents went off, like they actually went off of the game ratings. Like, is the game rated E? You're good. T? Well, you gotta wait till the age. M? You gotta wait for the age. And so, like, I even got, my PS3 came with God of War collection, which is 1 and 2 in HD there, and like they locked it away till I was old enough, which was then I played it. I'm like, oh hey, it's actually pretty good. Good parents. I remember I got in trouble once because I rented Metroid Prime 2, which is rated T, and I had to, like, show my mom it was okay. I'm like, look, there's nothing. There's nothing. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess. I also had to...
Okay. I forgot about that. Apparently
I'm gonna guess that was Japan's influence on making him be like a Tanuki.
I guess.
The other one that I had to fight for was playing Okami, getting Okami at Best Buy for the Wii. And like I actually had the Best Buy employee there, shoutouts to that guy, who went to bat for me and was like, actually, this game is really good for going into detail about Japanese mythology and a lot of historical stuff. And, you know, the only reason it's rated T is because, well, and I remember the words he used, like, the women are very stylized to be quite beautiful. They, you know, they're not inappropriate. There's no sexual content, even though there is in the game.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're just rendered as very beautiful women, which, you know, hence why it gets the teen rating. And I was like, and then my mom's like, oh, fine, whatever, right? No, see, we're not playing Bart's Nightmare, because this game is good.
This is Dreamland or Dream World that basically has everything that everyone loves and hates. In this case, Marge's hair attacking you, donuts fighting us, saxophones that attack us.
So we do actually have a $5 donation that just came in from someone named Flaming Claw, who says, I saw that death earlier, so I'm returning the favor. Get good, Steve.
Alright. I'm gonna show that words can hurt people. Crap.
Ali the Randomizer, I was also banned from Teletubbies because my mom was like, this is the most stupid thing ever. If you're going to be watching something, watch something that actually has, like, words.
Wow.
Hence why, like, I was allowed to watch Pokemon and, like, other, like, anime shows because my mom was like, at least they're talking.
That's one of the weirdest things to be banned from.
Well, actually, it's true. Like, now that I've done, like, a lot of child psychology stuff for my schooling, it's, like, super true that, like, you need to give your child TV shows with dialogue.
Oh.
Those baby shows without speaking actually cognitively affect the child, and they don't gain the language skills they need to have proper conversations. They also say, be very careful with what you give them, because, for instance, one of the most popular talkative shows from, you know, of the era now for kids is Peppa Pig, and Peppa Pig is British. And they're saying that parents who don't talk to their kids and who only put on Peppa Pig, their kids are getting British accents because they are gaining the British language, the British accent, as the only actual language that they are developing. So you actually need to make sure you're talking with their kids and, you know, giving them a wide variety of sources of accents so that they get, you know, a well-rounded view of English.
That is actually true, because we once had a case in my workplace where... damn it! Fucking Bart, devils, I was wanting to electrocute myself. Oh well, time to fight a bowling ball. Anyways, there was a case where Peppa Pig actually affected some of the kids at the place I work at, and he was talking with a British accent.
I mean, we're seeing now, like, the terms, like, instead of garage, you know, the garage is becoming popular among kids because their parents don't talk to them and use that word enough, so they are gaining that as the term. Although my favorite Peppa Pig story is still the one of, like, there's an episode of, don't worry, George, spiders are all friends. And then they banned that episode in Australia, because in Australia, spiders are not your friends. They will kill you.
Yeah, it's Australia or the Middle East, where you have terrifying spiders that are inhumanly sized.
Yeah, trapdoor spiders, bird-eating spiders, both of which are massive and terrifying. Not fun.
I'm pretty sure there'll be some sort of form of electrocution in the later levels.
Gameface says a lot of things in Australia are deadly. Yes, it's true. There is very little things in Australia that aren't trying to kill you at any given moment, especially the drop bears.
This is great. A bowling ball that fights back and launches pin missiles.
You know what? You gotta give him. It's a creative choice.
You're gonna... There you go, thank you. I was wondering when you'd grow that arm.
I love this era of just, like, how do we do pseudo 3D? Just layer a top of balls on top of each other. You know, you get that from, like, you know, a lot of the treasure games there.
Yeah. Alright, time for another mini-game.
Why is there a bite taken out of her? Oh, that's the grass.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, she doesn't look like a bite taken out of her dress.
Hey, wake up.
Right, kind of slap yourself.
Ready? Go.
This is really silly.
Yes!
I have sentience.
I will say my favorite part of this game is when you're loading it up and, you know, all the characters have quotes and Lisa's is just embrace nothingness.
Yeah. Bart's is Yo Man. Homer's is Yellow.
This reminds me of the bootleg Bart t-shirts. Those are so funny. I'm gonna read a couple.
Right. You know what? Forget the news. I'm just gonna completely ruin the news in your news segment. Because if you do long enough... There we go. He gave up.
There's one of Bart holding a nuke that says, "Go ahead, make my day, dude." Let's see what else is there. Oh, there's... Bart would never say this, but there's one of him smoking a doobie that says, "Smoke up, bitches." He would never say that. He's a child. Oh, there's Bart Sanchez from Tijuana, Mexico, and he's saying, "I am Mexican radical, dude." I love bootleg Bart t-shirts. They're so funny.
Well, honestly, I think it would kind of be in character if Bart set at the one of the previous ones, mainly because he does cuss some.
Little bit. Oh, there's Air Simpson of him playing basketball, and he says, "Can't touch this, dude." Oh, then it's Blue Shirt Bart. He looks like Blue Shirt Bart, but it under his name it says, instead of Bart Simpson, it's Bait Simpson, and he says, "Don't have a box new."
There we go. There's her bunny ears. You know, whenever The Simpsons ends, if ever, they should do something like, they should show her bunny ears.
I think they appeared in the show once. I think it was an early episode, and that's what they're referencing it. Let me type it in here.
What? Wait. Oh, he has a crack on his head? Oh, well,
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, given how intelligent Homer is. Hint, he's not.
Yeah, there was one episode where her hair splits in half into two bunny ears, which you can sort of be as a hint. Like a season 1 episode. However, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, there's the classic one of him just saying, "Eat pant." I love that one.
Alright.
It was meant to be revealed at one point as a way of showing off the problems of how radioactive Springfield is. Oh, wow.
Ooh,
That'd be actually really interesting and saying something, unlike anything in the modern Simpsons.
If they ever do something like that, I'd like to see that.
I mean, I guess they did a little bit of that in the, there you go.
Okay,
They had a little bit of that in, the Simpsons movie there.
time for the Weeb boss fight with ninjas.
And again, it's fine. This was made by Konami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a 3-eyed fish. We saw multiple of them earlier. Actually, you know what? I lied. There is one episode of The Simpsons I think about, and it's the Simpsons Go to Japan episode, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one where they had seizures by watching that cartoon.
Yeah, because I think Pokemon just had the seizure episode in Japan, so that was them kind of being topical about that.
Yeah, I remember reading about that in a Tips and Tricks Japan report, how it basically hospitalized and caused some kids to throw up.
Yeah, no one died from it, but it did hospitalize kids, and it permanently affected Japanese television because nowadays, if there's, like, they actually have an auto filter where if there's too much flashing on the screen, it will automatically dim, which is if you're ever watching anime and you see, like, the colors dim, and you're like, why is that? It's because of Pokemon. And now for specifically children's TV shows, they put a warning up saying, please make sure you're watching in a lit room, sitting far enough away from the TV, because one of the reasons that Pokemon affected them so much was a lot of kids were watching it in the dark and sitting right in front of the TV, which is really bad if you have epilepsy.
I saw that a lot when I had tapes of the Rockman EXE anime back in the day.
Yep, so you'll see that there on any sort of kids anime there, so... yep, it permanently affected Japanese television, so Pokemon is, you know, pretty big, and we finally got Porygon in the anime, in the form of the Porygon phone. However, we're not going to see him ever appear again, because he has been banned in general from the Pokemon anime.
Alright, here's the mini-boss. I kind of wonder what that kanji set... And I think it probably may have said Kabuki, maybe? I don't know.
Probably. It is interesting that they put in this boss because I'm sure anyone who was just a general Simpsons fan at the time would be like, what the hell is this boss? Because Kabuki isn't the most well-known. The only, like, mainstream thing of Kabuki I can think of is in Big Hero 6, where the villain wears Kabuki mask there. You know, so that's, like, the only mainstream Kabuki thing. So I think, you know, a lot of just, like, general Western audiences be like, what the hell is this boss doing?
I think it might say Kabuki, given the boss has red paint on his face.
Yeah, and when he comes out, I mean, he's doing the Kabuki pose. He comes out and he goes, yo, which is the Kabuki thing.
I just punched a shuriken out of thin air. Homer for the win.
There's actually a Kabuki plays of, like, One Piece and Naruto in Japan, where, like, they Kabuki-eyes the story, giving them the face paint and using Kabuki play tropes. It's interesting.
Very, very interesting.
I wonder if Konami was like, okay, if we're making this game, we have to put in a Japanese level. And they're like, oh, fine. Matt Groening signs the paper, whatever, it's fine. He looks at this boss and Matt Groening's like, I don't know what it is, but they asked for it, whatever.
Yeah, Samurai Showdown with Sendo Kyoshiro. Possibly the only Kabuki-related character that I know of in fighting games.
I know, like, E. Honda gets Kabuki makeup and stuff in some of his stuff, and his general face paint is based on Kabuki there. Yeah, One Piece does have a lot of Kabuki-type moments. I mean, Gear 4, Bound Man, is quite clearly based off of Kabuki in his pose and his face paint. And even when Luffy goes Gear 4, he doesn't go Gear 4, like, he doesn't scream it. He screams it Kabuki style, like the Kabuki yell. Yeah, and Kumadori from CP9, yeah. Is 2 lives per credit the default? Seems strict.
Yes.
Oh, sweet summer child.
Yes.
Back in this day, like, you'd usually get 1 life per credit. 2 is pretty nice. Is this the final level here?
Yep, it is the final level, and... Oh gee, I wonder whose mansion we're in.
Alright, I'll let them know.
Strange voice for Mr. Smithers, because that's not what he sounds like at all. Though he is kind of looking evil with that look on his face in the cave.
Just looking off.
Though I remember in Bart vs. the World, he and Mr. Smithers would wear party hats if you got a game over, just celebrating that Bart lost.
So some interesting thing that I don't think a lot of people knew about in the arcades there is that back in the day, arcade owners would actually have, there's called dip switches. Arcade owners could actually decide how many credits you get per coin. You could also decide the difficulty of the game, as well as a few other things like secret characters and stuff. So literally, depending on the arcade you went to, you could have a harder experience, and some games display the difficulty level, and some games don't. So that was a thing where arcade owners determined that stuff. It's really interesting that they were so customizable. So, you know, you go to some places and you can get free play on easy mode, have a fun time, and you go to others and they're like, well, I want to make money, so I'm gonna put up the hardest difficulty and do 1 credit per 1 life per credit.
They actually flipped all the dip switches for free play at this one barcade that I somewhat regularly visit.
Nice.
All you need to do is just get a drink or just pay the $5 cover charge and go to town.
Yeah, my local barcade is, they set it to 1 credit is 4 lives in most games, or 4 continues in like a fighting game, which is pretty nice. 25 cents for 4 lives, it gets you pretty far.
Yeah. Or some games like this one have a credit button where you just press it over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, bye, Mr. Smithers.
Welcome to your grave, sucker.
Pretty sure that's not what Mr. Burns sounds like either.
Nor would he really say, but alright.
But you do have his excellent in there.
Good.
I don't know if that's taken from an early recording or not, but I'm probably willing to bet that it is, because Mr. Burns was shown, or rather depicted as very evil looking in Season 1 of The Simpsons.
And it's also important to remember that Season 1 of The Simpsons is actually not even the first Simpsons stuff. It was originally a short series on, I think, the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
It was actually the Tracy Ullman Show.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, before even Jimmy Kimmel. I was like, it was some show there. Yeah. Tracy Ullman. So you had them as shorts there. So Simpsons existed before The Simpsons.
Yeah, the art style looks very strikingly different from modern-day Simpsons, or heck, from Season 2.
Yeah, I mean, even Season 1 Simpsons is, like, weird. Like, it's off at times.
The director of the Tracy Ullman Show hated The Simpsons.
To be fair, if I brought on a guest and the guest was 100 times more popular than my actual show, then I would probably feel some contempt.
That makes sense. And now everyone doesn't like The Simpsons because the show just won't die.
Although I will say, like, I know a few people who are still watching The Simpsons, and from what I hear, the newest stuff is better than some of the stuff they had for the last couple seasons. Like, it has gone back up a bit in quality. It's still pretty off, and some of the jokes are just lame. However, it's not its worst right now. It hasn't been pure downhill. I've heard it has gone back up, and the animation quality went back up because once they moved to like the new digital there, they kind of had to relearn everything. But now that it's like kind of where it's at, they're actually doing a lot better. So it's kind of up and down a bit.
That's not safe at all. Mr. Burns firing a nuke out from the chest.
It's okay. It's mini nukes. Although I do wonder how Japan feels about having an American boss firing nukes in a game they're told to make.
Also, a seizure warning. I'm sorry if that hurts anyone's eyes.
Yeah, hopefully the Twitch bitrate kind of kills that there.
Okay, it's starting to work on me. Not as bad as it was during Mega Twins. That really hurt my eyes playing that game.
We just got a $50 donation from, with no comment, but from Linda Schoenhals.
Huh.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
So we are now at $1,874, and the good news is the 69 cents is still there. We're getting close to the next milestone, which is Star Wars Masters of Teräs Käsi. which is a fun fighting game. I didn't say good, but fun. It's great.
Oh, you're dead. Okay. Nope. Now I kind of wish we actually fought Mr. Burns.
For some reason, part of me remembered him hulking out and turning into a giant monster.
Maybe that was the Japan version of the game? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Because, I mean, there are some discrepancies between region versions of these games. Like in X-Men, there's health power-ups. The mutant powers work differently. No idea about the Japanese version of this game, though.
I'm looking it up right now because I'm really interested. Japanese version has a different way of doing the scoring, different point values. When you beat the bonus games, you got a vitality bonus. You could extend your health past 100% if you picked up food.
Ooh.
You could... Oh. There's nukes on every single stage of the Japanese version.
What?
Yeah, they're just on the ground, and you pick them up and throw them, and they destroy stuff. Huh. They've switched around hot dogs and hamburgers. Every hot dog in the original game becomes a hamburger. Yeah, tons of bombs everywhere. Just tons of bombs. They added bombs everywhere to the game.
They didn't give a crap.
And yet, when Smithers dies from all the bombs blowing up, they're instead fruit that blow him up. Huh. Although, the one interesting thing is, in the ending, which we just saw, everyone appears. We got Skinner, Milhouse, Nelson, Sherry and Terry, Santa's Little Helper, and Snowball the Second all come out to beat up Smithers in the end there.
Oh, wow, that's even better. Anyways, once you beat the game loops. So, I'm just gonna get beaten up. Just to end this off on a game over.
Oh, and Toxer Starts does say that if you play the game in Japanese on the PS3 re-release, you get those changes.
Yep, same with X-Men.
Nice, I like that.
Jeez, next time I'll just have to play the Japanese version of this, because that sounds a lot more fun.
That's interesting. I like that. Honestly, I know some people look at regional differences as like, oh, that's just like censorship, right? It's like, no, not really. It's cool. It's cool seeing the changes. Like, for instance, they're saying in X-Men, you use your health to you use your health before your supercharges, right? And in Japanese, it's the other way. It's just different ways of game design, and I like it. It's cool.
Yeah. All right.
Right, so who is next up with us on our schedule? Let's take a look. Well, do you have any final comments about the game here?
I'm glad I got to play this for charity. Hope you all enjoyed this. Keep donating and until we get to $2,000, because then I will play Star Wars Masters of Terras Kasai.